Hello and welcome to today's video. Today, another Inky Minutes review, and this time it is an ink from Caran. It is Infinite Grey. Now, Caran has a range of amazing pen and pencil related products. I have spoken about the brand a number of times. Back in the early days of the channel, I did some a bit more content about pencils and things, and I was talking about like the Swiss wood and the graph wood, and and then I've done a lot of reviews of things like the 849. This particular one is the Code Black, which I think is absolutely fantastic. One of the best ballpoint pens on the market, in my opinion, with an amazing refill. This particular one was a gift from a couple of colleagues at work, which makes it mean all the, so much more to me, which is absolutely beautiful. And they've got this range of Chromatics inks. Now, I've used the Idyllic Blue and the sort of Standard Black, but these are quite expensive inks. I'll talk about the price a little later in the video, but they're not cheap. And so I just hadn't gotten around to reviewing them. And then Milligram in Australia started stocking the Chromatics inks in the bottle form. And so I splashed out and I bought 3. So I'm looking at Infinite Grey today, and I've got a couple more that I'll look at over the coming months. These are fantastic inks. Just like everything from Caran, they are made with incredible quality. Caran is a Swiss company, and they take quality to the next level. Okay, so it comes in this really interesting sort of hexagonal box, and then we get the bottle in here. It's a nice heavy glass bottle. It's a 50ml bottle. It's got this really unique slanted base, which means that as the ink level is getting low, you have a better access into the bottle to fill from a bigger pen. Otherwise, I keep it in the base, which allows it to sit sort of relatively straight up on my desk. Not my favorite bottle design, but I can see where they're going. Lovely sort of shiny cap. This cap is absolutely beautiful. The threads are amazing. Like, it feels beautiful to cap and uncap this bottle. It's just really like absolutely gorgeous, and it's a nice heavy cap as well. So little things like that make this company just, you see where they're going. But as with every other ink review on this channel, it's not about the bottle, it's about the ink, and that this is Infinite Grey. Now, this is a purple leaning grey, like very subtly purple leaning grey. It's not going to come up quite on the camera. We'll show it in the colour comparison later in the video, but it's a beautiful grey that has nice lighter shading, which is still legible on the page, which you'll see, and beautiful darker shading. I do like a grey ink, and I was particularly excited about this colour. This has been my favourite, in theory, my favourite colour in the Caran lineup. So here on a colouring card, looking absolutely fantastic. And here we have it on Tomo River paper. Now, I had this in a Faber-Castell Essentio extra fine fountain pen, which is like a nice sort of European extra fine. And then I did a little bit of writing with a glass dip pen as well, just so we get a sense of some heavier shading and things like that. It's beautiful. As I said, lighter shading, quite light, but still legible. It's not dissimilar in the lighter shading to what you might get from, say, like, a B pencil or something like that. But nice wet ink, beautiful shading here. There's no sheen or shimmer or anything like that, not what you expect. Also, sort of relatively mid to low water resistance. Like, you can kind of make out the detail, but it's a lighter ink and a lot of it sort of disappears. As I said, this is not an inexpensive ink. So at Milligram, this is $79.99 for that 50ml bottle here. So not inexpensive. I have seen it in Australia for $69.95, which is still quite expensive. To put that into context, an 80ml bottle of Diamine is about 22 Australian dollars. So it is an expensive ink. This is a luxury product, as a lot of the Caran products are. It's about $37 US is one of the prices I have seen. So an expensive ink, but a very high quality ink and a beautiful ink. And you can see on the reverse of this Tomo River page, nothing has come through. Lots of show through. Obviously, it's lightweight Tomo River paper, but nothing has actually come through other than the swatch. And even that is not as bad as, like some other inks there. We'll now look at it on some lower end paper, and here it is on the typical sort of Spyrex student note lecture pad paper. This is not fountain pen friendly. The color is a lot more muted and dull. it loses what I consider like the magic of this grey, which is sort of like that interesting shading, and it just becomes quite a dull grey. But in saying that, you know, there's not a whole lot of feathering. I've certainly seen worse. And if we look at the back, even the bleed is certainly not as bad as some others. And here on another not fountain pen friendly paper, this is the 80 GSM reflex copy paper. It's okay. Like, once again, it's that same sort of dull color profile. This doesn't show it to its best, but it still is nice and it's still legible. And as I said, it's relatively clean in comparison to some other inks. And then on the reverse, we see there is bleed, but you know, it's definitely not the worst. And as I said, this and the student notepad paper, definitely not fountain pen friendly. So now we'll look at it on another fountain pen friendly paper. This is 80 GSM Rhodia, sort of like the standard. Once again, same sort of detail in the water resistance, beautiful swatch, like just absolutely stunning shading and colors coming through there. Nice and wet, nice sort of shading and nice sort of look on the page, definitely legible. You know, if you didn't want to use a black, if you wanted something that looked a little bit more interesting in a sort of semi-professional setting, I think this would be a lovely option. But as I said, not really water resistant. And of course, as you would expect, nothing has come through at all. It performs well. I find grey inks, this is just my take, right? I find grey inks to be an interesting option if you're using a really lightweight paper. So something like a Tom or River or something, where if you wanted to use a dark black or a dark blue, you would get a lot more show through, a lot more ghosting. A grey tends to dull that out ever so slightly. So I find it a really interesting option. Let's now look at this chromatography. This is beautiful. There's like a little bit of a sort of a purple baseline left behind, which is sort of what we see in the water resistance test. Then we get these like browny pinks and greens up to a beautiful blue. There's a lot of depth in this chromatography. There's a lot of sort of balance that has gone into the creation of this ink color. And now we'll do a quick color comparison on some coloring cards. First thing I wanted to do was put it alongside a sort of fairly standard black. And so I've got deep black from Tom's Studio here. This is a nice black. It's very nice. I want to use that ink more, and I'll actually link to my affiliate code for Tom's Studio down below as well, if you're interested in any of their products. But I wanted to show it alongside a few inks. So firstly, the black to show that it just sort of how light this ink is, particularly in the lighter shading through there. Like, it is quite light. That darker shading with that sort of slightly purple tone is really nice. A couple of favorite grays of mine. Firstly, we get Fog Grey, which in this instance is the Isaac Newton ink from Detrimentus. You see that sort of a more, what I call a sort of a blue leaning grey, perhaps traditional grey, whereas this is sort of like a purple leaning grey. Then I get Colorverse First Moon Landing One Small Step, which is almost like verging on like a pale black. So much, much darker, much more true grey than Infinite Grey. And then we get Diamine Earl Grey, which in some of the lighter shading is not dissimilar, right? But this goes closer to the dark grey, whereas this leans closer into that purple grey. So Infinite Grey from Caran is a luxury ink. It's priced as a luxury ink and it performs as a luxury ink. It's beautiful on the page. It's beautiful to write with in the pen. It's nice and smooth. It's relatively wet. It's a really lovely option. Maybe wait till you find it like it on sale or like at a nice special price, because it is quite an expensive ink, but you do get a lovely quality ink for that. So thank you for watching this video about Infinite Grey from Caran today, this beautiful Inky Minutes review. I hope you found it interesting and useful. Please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, all that kind of stuff. If you've got products you think I should be looking at, or if there's a way you'd like to support the channel, I would really love to hear from you. It's your support that makes these videos possible and helps, you know, a little bit of ad revenue and things like that, helps me, you know, be able to purchase a few bits and pieces to show you in these reviews like I did with this ink. So thank you very much. There are other ways you can support this channel, including using things like the affiliate links. So if you want to support, please get in touch. In the meantime, enjoy your inks. Stay tuned for more Caran Chromatics ink reviews coming up, and I'll talk to you soon.